y'all, welcome to Criminally Creative, a channel about my various creative endeavors. Today is Saturday, June 15th, 2024, and this is episode 61. I'm Susan. You can find me on Ravelry as Legal Eagle and on Instagram as Criminally Creative Podcast. If you're new, I appreciate you checking me out. If you're returning, I appreciate you coming back, and hopefully, regardless of whether you're new or returning, you will enjoy what you see today. And hopefully this is going to be a little bit shorter since it's only been 2 weeks and I've been working a lot, so not as much stitching. But I unfortunately am still sinus draining, although I feel fine. I just have a lot of snot in my head. Sorry. So there still may be some occasional coughing and draining. Anyway, we'll get on to more pleasant topics. Hearsay. Like I said, I have still been working a lot. It's just a busy time of year. I did have my 24th wedding anniversary on June 3rd. I was at work till about 8 o'clock at night. So we didn't do much of anything to celebrate. And today is Saturday. It's like almost 9 o'clock at night. But this morning we drove down towards the Charlotte area and had lunch with my in-laws, and then went to my daughter's house for my granddaughter, who will be 4 on Tuesday. They had a little party for her at my daughter's house today. So we went and did that for a few hours this afternoon and then drove home. So kind of a long day, but I wanted to go ahead and get this recorded tonight so that I can edit tonight and it can process overnight and I can upload tomorrow. So this probably will not be up until Sunday. But I knew if I waited till tomorrow to record, it would pretty much take up most of the day. So, again, I apologize for the coughing. It's more of a clear my throat cough than anything. So that's really about it for hearsay, other than, like I said, just been working a good bit. I think Thursday night I actually got home at 7 o'clock, which is like the earliest I've been home. No, actually I got home more like 6:30 because I was able to Zoom Thursday night at 7. So, which was the first time I'd made that in a while. So anyway, let's move on to the crafting. First up is verdicts. What did I do with it? That's the one thing I didn't put where it should be. So hopefully I'm not going to knock the camera too much. I do have one verdict, and that is I finished Pinecone Gnome, which is a Mill Hill kit. I have not fully finished this yet. I just was able to do Mill Hill Monday night, and so I was able to get all the beading done on that. I had done all the stitching and back stitching before Monday, and so I did all the beading Monday night. Hopefully you can see that and see the beads kind of sparkly there. So at some point I will get that cut out and backed and turned into a Christmas ornament. I just haven't really had the brain space to do it yet this week. So that is the only verdict that I have. And so we'll move on to court and session. Like I said, this is probably going to be a little bit shorter episode, but that's not necessarily a bad thing considering how long I go sometimes. So, first up, I've mentioned before that I'm doing a Tiny Town round robin with 4 of my table mates from the Queen City Stitch Retreat last October. Anne, who is Anne Craft All the Things. Debbie, who is Alligator Stitcher. Jess, who is Stitches of Sass on Instagram. I think she's done YouTube videos in the past, but not for a good while. And then Sally, who does not have a YouTube and is on Instagram as her. I have to look that one up. I can't remember what it is, but anyway, so this is Debbie's Tiny Town, which is Blooming Tiny Town by Heart and Hand. She chose 32 count Picture This Plus Whimsy, and the DMs called for DMC. I did 586 stitches on this, so when it came to me, it had these first 3 houses, and I did this bird and this yellow house there, and I think that's the end of the pattern. She actually started in the middle, and so when I send this to Anne, she will work up here somewhere. If I remember correctly, I think that's the end. So that will be shipped off to Anne, who is the person I send to, sometime in the next couple weeks. I need to send it off before the end of the month, so we'll try to get that done. Actually, you know what? I totally skipped over the knitting. Well, that's one cross-stitch project. Let me go back to the knitting, which I usually do first, because if I don't, I'll forget to do it completely. I did work on my socks a little bit more. I worked on them today, but I forgot to bring them in here. It's just a couple more inches on the leg. I have worked some more on the Bounce blanket, which is a baby blanket for a friend of mine whose first grandson was born recently. This is a pattern by Tin Can Knits. I'm using Universal Yarns Cotton Supreme in gray, ocean, and apricot. This is just over halfway, I think, about. We're going to see how far my yarn goes. The apricot is what I will run out of if I run out of anything. So once I get to where I can't do another full stripe of apricot, that will be it. I'm doing that on a US 7 4.5 millimeter needle, and it's in this bag by the Fat Squirrel. And then I started a new knitting project. Excuse me. I was having the urge, and so I realized I had a mini skein set from Robin's Promise in red, gray, and black is what this set is called. This is Robin's Promise Yarns Songbird. And so I decided it looked very much like NC State colors. My oldest niece is transferring to NC State this year, and my middle niece will be starting as a freshman at NC State. And so I decided to start, this one is for my oldest niece, or doesn't really matter. You'll see when I get to stashing for retirement that I have another set of this now. But anyway, so that is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the 10 colors. You can see a little bit. The next one is a little bit more, got a little bit more black in it. And then the very last color is like a really deep charcoal gray. Sorry, I'm not going to take that out of the bag. I've got them in order to keep, because a lot of the, as you can see, these whites, they're different, but very slightly different. This one, you might be able to see a little better here, has a little more pops of red in it. It's hard to see. You can see it a little better in person. Excuse me. So I've got them in little baggies, like 2 balls at a time, so I can keep my orders, the order straight as I go, because I'll just repeat the stripes until I finish, until I run out of yarn. And I don't think I mentioned that is the Litmus Cow by Jude Harper. I'm doing that on US 4 3.5 millimeter needles, and that is in a hoagie bag. I can't remember the name of this style, but it's one of the ones that's kind of suede. And this handle does this, or it will unbutton here and button over that, so it's just flush across the front. So that is the knitting. Let's go back to the cross stitch now. Next up is a stitch a day, and I didn't do this for Blooming Tiny Town because I probably can find a picture. I may have put a picture up. As I talk, I will be putting a picture of what the project will look like when it's finished, as well as, excuse me, a picture of what it looked like the last time you saw it, if I have one, which I do for everything if it's not a new start. So this is a stitch a day by Morning Glory Needleworks. I'm doing this on 28 count Mystic fabric in the colorway Time Worn. And here's where it is. So this is a block, the outside square of a block one day, and then the inside the next day. This is my Sunday stitch. So every Sunday I do either 3 or 4 blocks to do for the week. So I don't actually work on this every day. I just do it once a week. This is in a bag made by Vicky Stitch and Button. I'm doing this with Sulky thread. Next up is One Nation. This is in a bag by Creative Carol. with flags and eagles, very appropriate. This is by it's got dropping things, sorry. Inside has eagles. This is by Bygone Stitches on 28 count. Picture This Plus Ale. This is the stitch that I broke into, the remainder into 12 parts so that I will be finished by the end of the year. This is what it looks like completely right now. And this month I did, where did I start? Just this little portion right here. So I've got one more little portion to get to the end of those 3 rows, which I will do in July. And then I have 3 more rows underneath that to do the last 5 months of the year. And I think probably what I will do is just start working like in August. I'll probably work as far as I can across the Q-snap on 1 row instead of where I divide it off. I can see that I have a feeling that I probably will finish this before the end of the year, because the closer I get to finishing it, the more motivated I will be to do more than I have to do each month. So forgot to tell you, on the stitch a day, I've done 542 stitches since the last time you saw it. I don't have a percentage on that one because it's a paper chart. On One Nation, that portion was 886 stitches. Don't have a percentage because that one's actually in Good Notes. I don't have that one in Markup RXP. Excuse me. Next up is in this Susan B. I started to say Susan B. Anthony bag, and that's not right. Ruth Bader Ginsburg bag that was made by Lynn X Stitch Creates. This is Kingdom of Books. I am doing this on the kit 14 count Ada with the kit floss and everything. Doing the 3 strands as it calls for, full coverage, doing the whole background and everything. I started this approximately August 31st of 2016. This is the full coverage project that I am putting at least 2,000 stitches in every month this year. And I have done my 2,000 stitches for June. I did exactly 2,000 stitches this month. I am currently, and that was, sorry, that was from here down through like right here was the 2,000 stitches. I am currently at 33.8%. Now, if you're paying attention and you watched my last one, I told you then I was 33.2%, and you would think that 2,000 stitches would be more than 0.6%. Well, it is. I realized when I moved to this page, the page that this part is on, that I had one page that did not have a grid on it. So apparently when I pulled it into markup, I just kind of started working on it without going through all the pages and making sure they were gridded properly. So I have gone through and double checked all the pages to make sure they are now gridded properly. So hopefully my stitch count is correct, but it was a little bit higher than what was originally calculated because one of the pages did not have a grid on it. So I did add 2,000 in stitch. So when I said 33.2% last time, it was less than that. Probably like 31% or something. I don't know. And so now it should be relatively accurate. Next up is in this bag made by, I think Creative Carol made this bag. Who made this? No, this is, I will have to put it across the bottom of the screen because I'm drawing a blank right now. But I've ordered several bags, several of these patchwork bags from her. I think So, like S-E-W is in her name, but it won't come to me. I'll put it on the screen. She makes really good bags. The name won't come to me. But this is Teresa Kogut fabric. And this is my first whip go call for June. This is Let Freedom Ring by Leela Studio. I started this on November 9th, 2023. This was kind of my Veterans Day start last year, even though Veterans Day is on the 11th, but I can't remember why, but for some reason I wasn't going to be able to start on the 11th, so I started on the 9th. I have done, my whip go goal is 10 hours on this. So far I have done 4 hours, and I have done 1,401 stitches. This, hopefully you can see where all this kind of cream is that kind of blends in. There will be back stitch outlining around that will make it stand out a little better when I'm done. I just haven't done it yet, and the spire goes all the way up. So I have finished the tower. Like I said, 1,401 stitches I've done so far in 4 hours. I'm currently at 5.3%. I need to do 6 more hours. When I pick this up again, I'm actually going to take it out of the Q-snip and move this down so I can, what I'm trying to do is get up to the like ribbon border that's up top. I started in the middle because I did not want to leave this giant building for last. I didn't want to do all the flowers and the bell and the flag and all that stuff and then have nothing but building left to do. So I'm trying to get up to this ribbon border so I can alternate working between all the stuff up here and the building. So I'm not always working on building. I'm not always not working on building. So I've got 6 more hours to do on that. So I should get some good progress on that before the month's over with. And then my last whip is in this Halloween bag by Carrie Sews For You. It's not a Halloween project. It's just the bag I had empty. I still need to get around to making some bags so I can... I prefer if my projects are in bags that are appropriate to the project, somewhat themed that way. I don't mind if they're not completely on point, but it does bother me a little bit for this to be in a Halloween bag when it's clearly not a Halloween project. Like the Halloween and Christmas bags should have Halloween and Christmas projects in them. I don't care if there's a flowered bag that has something that's not flowered in it, but the ones that are obvious for a holiday really should have that holidays in it. But anyway, this is Amid Amish Life, which I told you last time I was probably going to start. The copy I have was in Cross Stitch and Country Crafts in 3 issues in 1987. Apparently it is available in a book of patterns from Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. I don't remember the name of the book, but I have the magazines. I could not find another designer's name on this, so the only designer I know is Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. I'm assuming back then that it was either like a staff designer or they just didn't give credit. I've looked through the magazine and they seem to list some people that design, but they don't. I haven't found where it says this person designed this pattern. So anyway, I did start this. I got it into markup. But then I realized as I was inputting colors, I started on the first page and input all the colors. So it's a triptych is the way it was charted, and then 3 different issues. And then I got to this center part where there were some different colors that weren't used in the first part, and also realized that while some of the symbols and colors were the same, they reused some of the symbols for a different color that was in the middle part, but not in the first part. So I'm going to have to kind of work part by part, at least somewhat. So I did... Let me just show you as far as I got. This is mostly full coverage except for the very top, the sky. So this border is the width of the first part. But because, of course, I don't want to work a solid line, I did work, like these colors were the same on the second part. So I'm working over a little bit as I can. So that I don't have a solid line between parts, but I've got to be careful. I also, and it tells you if you're doing all 3 as one piece. Let me get a little closer so you can see the colors and stuff. It tells you if you're doing all 3 as one piece to start in the center and work this border out, because it doesn't, like where this border ends on the first part is not where the border starts on the second part. I wanted to start top left, so I just kind of sat down and figured out where this edge was on the second part and calculated how these little diamonds should go. So hopefully I did it right. I think I did. I'm doing this on 32 count Zweigart in light blue and with the called for DMC. I did 1,034 stitches, and that is 3.1%. So it was fun to stitch on, so hopefully it will go well. And I mean, if anybody's interested, it was the March, April, May, June, and July, August issues of Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. So I have them here. I like this one too. I don't know if I'll ever get around to doing it, but I really do like that. Anyway, so that was my new start for June. And that is it for the stitching. Whoops, sorry, I just shook my table, and I'm only at like 21 minutes. So this will be a short one. On the docket, I need to finish another 6 hours of Let Freedom Ring. My second whip call for the month is Winter Cabin, which is a dimensions kit that I started as a birthday start in, I think, 2021, maybe 2022. It was either 21 or 22. I need to do my 600 stitches on Anzac later this month, and I still need to get at least 400, hopefully 1,000 stitches on Sugar Skull Cat. And I would like to work on at least, if not finish, Autumn Seaside by Forbidden Fiber Co., which you have not seen in a couple months because I haven't been able to get to it. But that's my plans for the rest of the month. It just depends on how much stitching time I actually have. So this week at work should hopefully be not quite as many hours after regular working hours, but we'll see. So that brings us to stashing for retirement, which I have to get up and get. If you know me or you've been watching for a while, you are going to be shocked at how little, sorry about that light, I knocked it, how little stashing for retirement I have today. It's not a bad thing, but I got my Bestitch Me May fabric. I think I told you last time it was sitting in the mailbox. I had just not gone and gotten it. So hopefully everybody else has got it. I get 40 count neutral. This was the May. It's called Gray Magic. Really pretty color. It's got some green in it too. I did also get my June floss clubs from Pam at Stitch New England. I don't usually show you those because it's Classic Colorworks, Week Style Works in alphabetical order and MPI in numerical order. I did get an email today that the July club for Classic Colorworks is only going to be 7 skeins because we're hitting the end of the alphabet. And so in August, it will start back over again. So I'm debating whether or not, I do use a lot of Classic Colorworks. So I'm debating, I may continue to kind of get some duplicates. And also I'm sure that there might have been a couple skipped over here there because they weren't available, or new colors. Because I use a lot. I don't know. We'll see if I'm going to keep up with that. The only other stashing for retirement I have is, I showed you the litmus cow that I started for my oldest niece that in NC State colors, and I'm going to need all the yarn in that mini skein set for her. So I ordered another mini skein. These are going to crinkle a lot, sorry. Another mini skein set in the same colors for my middle niece Kate. So that's the full color set. I'm just arranging them in a little bit different order on the cow. And then since I was making one for the 2 older nieces, and there's a third niece, and Susan at Robin's Promise had the perfect mini skein set for her high school colors. She will be starting as a freshman in high school, and her high school is green and gold. And so I ordered this to make her one as well. And so these will be Christmas presents for the nieces, so who do not watch these videos as far as I know. So if they happen to watch it, they just got spoiled, but they'll get more than that for Christmas. But so that is all my stashing for retirement. I haven't ordered any patterns online. I have not ordered any other patterns. Honestly, I've been working too much to go shopping. So sometimes when I'm working a lot, shopping is my therapy when I have downtime. But this lately, I honestly just haven't even had time to browse online. So calendar, nothing new. I will be at North Meets South Needlework Showcase in the DC area August 8th through 11th. And then I will be at the Barefoot Needle Art Retreat October 4th through 6th. That's it for stitching. Still planning the Wyoming, Montana trip for September. And I'm doing a crafty weekend with some friends in the weekend before Veterans Day in November. I may still try to get into stitching at the farm, which is the weekend after Veterans Day. Figure about August or so, I may start calling and see if they've got an empty spot, if they just kind of nagging them. But with planning the weekend in November, I need to sit down and figure out how much I'm earning some comp time at work. But I need to figure out between the Wyoming trip and the other trip days off that I have planned, how much more time I want to take off and keep banked to see if stitching at the farm is feasible, because I think stitching at the farm is Thursday through Sunday, which means I would probably need to allot a day and a half to drive up there. I could drive, I don't know what time it starts on Thursday. If it doesn't start till Thursday afternoon, I could drive Wednesday and Thursday morning, but then I would need to drive Sunday and Monday coming back, and then we'd probably want a day. So that's basically a whole nother week off work. So we'll see. Couple of shout outs. I mentioned Debbie Allen Gator Stitcher, who was the Tiny Town, and a couple other floss tubes that I've watched recently. Minnie All X's, she just put up kind of her StitchCon recap. Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch, I haven't watched her StitchCon recap, which just went up today, I think, but I've mostly, I think, caught up with her other videos. She's gotten back into knitting, so I enjoy seeing her, all of the different, she's multi-craftual like I am, so I kind of enjoy it. Although she's much more advanced at the sewing part than I am. I enjoy seeing all the different things she does. And then another one that if you like true crime, you ought to check out, Stasha, who is Stitch and Crime. And I'll link all these below. She does cross stitch, and then the other half of her show every time is true crime, and she lives out in the Utah area, so she follows several cases in the Rocky Mountain area, and that's generally what she talks about. Because criminal law is my thing, I just find it interesting to listen to. I enjoy true crime. I don't make time to listen to true crime normally. I just don't have the time. I like occasionally reading a true crime book, but it's just fun to, she does in 30 minutes of the cases that are going on and stuff like that. So, and she really follows them in a way I don't have time to do. So it's just kind of fun and interesting to hear the cases she's talking about and following. So, so if you're looking for some new floss tubers, check them out. I think that's it for me. I don't know what I stopped the video, so I'm probably, hopefully, less than 30 minutes, so, which is great for me. Excuse me. I will probably be back. Well, I will be back sometime the end of June. Hopefully the weekend of the 29th, 30th. If not, it will be later that week sometime. And I guess that's about it. Sorry, I'm a little bit brain dead. I tried, my husband drove to and from Charlotte, and I don't know about y'all, but if I'm driving, I'm fine. But if I'm a passenger in a car, 30 minutes and I'm asleep. I cannot stay awake as a passenger vehicle. I mean, I even started out knitting, because I find knitting easier to do in a car than stitching. And I mean, it's like after 30 minutes, I'm just, my head's bobbing. I can't stay awake, and I have to put it away, and then I end up dozing the rest of the trip. So, I stayed awake the first hour or so on the way home. We stopped and got some dinner, And but then the second hour after dinner, man, I was just zonked. Well, I'm not really zonked because I like doze for a while and then I wake up, and I doze for a while. It's not good sleep, but it makes you feel groggy. But anyway, I'll stop rambling now. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you're having a good, well, it feels like summer here. It was 90 something today. Technically, I guess summer's not until later this week, but sure feels like it here. Hope if you're off for the summer for school or whatever, I hope you're having a good time and get some vacation in, get some little bit of sun, vitamin D, swimming, whatever you enjoy doing in the summer. And I will see you in a couple weeks. Bye, y'all.